This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this?
This is a sham.
No. Y'all, just stop.
Get real.
Hello. How's everybody feeling today? Good?
Good.
How are you? I feel good. I have a little constant ringing in my ear, so if I seem distracted, that's why.
Yeah,
right.
it's not your biological ringing in the ear. It's
technical.
Okay. Well,
But doesn't that usually mean someone's thinking about you?
Yeah, someone's talking about you, right?
I thought it was if your ear is.
if that was your ear, not the insert
Technical.
you're putting in
Okay.
the ear.
But is it they're talking about you or they're thinking about you?
I heard talking about you.
Oh.
What'd you hear?
talking.
I'm
Yeah, me
removing
too.
my ear. Okay, sorry. All right, that curtain is pulled back. Welcome to DBL. I'm Sam in for Tori. So it doesn't matter how old you are. It turns out every generation these days spends a lot of time on social media. In fact, older adults spend nearly an hour a day on social. So how much of what you see or read online do you believe is actually true? Well, there is a new survey of older adults, and it reveals that the average senior believes just 43% of what they read online. 63% say they've learned something new from social media that was actually helpful. 35% see these platforms as a reliable source for keeping up with the news. And 32% use it to seek out information. So what do you think of this? And how much of what you read online do you actually believe to be true? What would you say, Jeff?
First of all, surveys. Okay. You know what this survey is? How much time do you spend online? It's the new how many drinks per week do you have? That's the new survey. It is, because you're always like, 2?
It's always
baloney
four
that
to
it's
6.
1 hour everyone spends online. It's
this
way
is
more than
older
that.
adults
I don't
spend 1
care.
hour.
Everybody is older. And I'm glad there's some discernment with older adults, right? If this survey if it happens to be true, I don't think it does. It's very skewed in my opinion. But that's some discernment, at least, right? Because I don't trust the news I see online. I don't even trust, like, my brother-in-law. Twice he told me something that was wrong, and I posted one of them, and it was completely wrong. I'm like, don't ever tell me a story ever again, because I'm not believing it. DBL posted this picture of me. Do we have that picture from last week that Joel made? And okay, so that picture is back.
Everyone
People
thought it was
thinks it's real.
I know. I died.
Yes, they wrote me and like,
they did.
why would you dye your hair? I'm like, do you think I did that to myself? It's a graphic image from Joel over
every
there.
single
Look at that. People thought that was real.
No, Albert, every single commenter was like, wow, thank God Jeff stopped dyeing his hair. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, people wrote me and told me that. I'm like,
gosh.
dude, you need a vacay from this planet. Yeah.
What about like any of your
Erica.
relatives, Erica? Did you have any relatives that either you fell victim to this, or did you have a relative that you would just say, this isn't real or this is disinformation? Have you had to correct people?
Well, people will say things like, it's like kind of like the way we were when we grew up. You know, somebody in the neighborhood said something, and then it turns into this story, and then next thing you know, someone's repeating a story back to you. I was just telling you a story earlier today about my mother telling me this story about.
You can't go into this, Erica. You cannot go into this.
So my
Now she
mother
has to go
tells
into it.
me this story, and she's trying to explain to me that someone had maybe done something inappropriate when it came to like board, state license, stuff like that. And as she's telling me the story, I'm Googling the story, and it turns out that this story alludes to necrophilia and some images being generated of corpses. Now, this wouldn't be such a pedestrian story, and it's not a pedestrian story.
I'd agree with that.
But we're in the funeral, I'm not in the funeral home business, but like our family's in the funeral home business. So like a story like this isn't like super crazy to hear. Well, I mean, the context of the story.
Get to it.
No, I'm just saying, so basically I was trying to explain to my mother that I believe that this person was using these photos of deceased people for sexual purposes.
And her mom thought the most egregious part
was that the photos were taken without the family's permission.
That's what her mom was upset about.
Because she didn't
Erica
understand.
Had a whole other layer.
Yeah, like we read the same story and got 2 different versions of the story.
But the story was true.
The story's true.
Oh.
Yes.
Well, I think that's okay.
But she's explaining it to me from
So it's
like
true people use them for sexual purposes?
this
Yeah,
happens.
necrophilia.
Yes.
There's a whole song about it.
Yeah, I know. We said it
TSOL,
5
right?
times.
TSOL, right, Joel?
Yeah.
TSOL? Yeah.
Okay.
What do you mean? Don't normalize it like, oh, yeah, everyone does it.
No,
That's super
no.
weird.
Everyone does not
It's
do it.
super- no,
Yeah.
it's
I'm just
But
super
you were
saying-
just like, yeah, necrophilia.
It's
Like we were
super
answering a
illegal.
Scrabble
I
puzzle.
did not.
It's
Yeah.
very illegal. Yes.
Yes.
No,
I
don't
think- I
do
think
that.
that-
It's
Move.
disgusting. It's wrong. Do not normalize it, Jeff.
Watch that back again and
Okay.
watch how normal
All right.
you said that.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
You're like, cool,
Shall
man.
I go
This
to the
weekend
next
a little
week,
neck
Michael
row.
Dean? I'm gonna. Okay. All right. So here's a question for you. Do you still feel as awkward or insecure as you did when you were a teenager? Well, new research reveals that more than 2/3 of adults, 68%, feel just as insecure as an adult as they did in their teens. So what are adults so insecure about? 55% of us are self-conscious about their body shape. 53% are unsure about their hair. 52% say their smile makes them insecure, and 48% are self-conscious about their height. And get this, men are more likely than women to be insecure about their glasses, height, hairstyle, and their smile. So what do we think of this? And what if anything are you insecure about now that you're an adult? Anything, Albert?
I wouldn't say so much physically, but I don't know. I think as a parent, you're always just like, am I doing enough? Am I ready? You know, college, grad school. Like, you know, I was talking to my daughter's mother this morning. I was up early at like 4:30 this morning, and we were texting at like 5 in the morning about if she gets into her top school, like the financial building.
Yep.
That is going, like, I mean, so that's definitely what I'm insecure about. And I think every parent that, you know, is getting their kid ready, that's why Friday Night Lights is so important. Everybody goes, why do they take high school sports so seriously? In a lot of ways, it's the only way you can get your kid in school.
Dude,
or that or academic.
I wouldn't be able to go to school if it weren't for my swimming scholarship. So to your point.
So
Let's get to the juicy stuff. I love your real insecurity, but any physical
Do you know what I noticed
insecurities?
about that list? Those are all things that you need to do to get a partner. Like, nice smile, nice hair, nice. I think that still rides with people, just to like get your ideal partner. That's when you were a little kid in the 3rd grade and you think, oh, Erica Copp's so cute with her little trapper keeper. You want to know if she thinks, and that same mentality like rides with you your whole life. There's not really a point where you don't want your partner to think you're attractive.
Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot to think about there because I think about in terms of like financial insecurity. But then the things that I was like so insecure about before, I'm like really grateful for now. So
Can you talk about your hair journey? Like, how were you in terms of like mentally getting ready to do that?
Well, it wasn't a mental thing. It was just I've always loved my hair, but then I was in a position where I couldn't take care of my hair, especially growing up. Like, people don't realize like how many products have come to the market just in the past 5 to maybe 10 years for my hair texture. So it's a learning experience all the time. But I always felt like I needed to assimilate in order for me to be looked at and be on an equal footing as everyone else. And then when I found real security, especially here, and just speaking my truth as myself, it made me feel like, why can't I fully be myself? Beautiful. And then there were all of these other things that were supporting me in that journey. So yeah, I think my hair had never been an insecurity until I was told that like, I can't be here without it looking like everyone else's.
It's usually society that puts that on us, right? What?
10 seconds.
I
Oh, you don't have an earpiece. Oh, sorry.
Sam is calling the place from the high.
Tell me your whole life story.
I know.
Jeff.
You always do that. So
I know. I do.
It's a little insecurity of Sam's.
Coming up on DBL, our interview with comedian Tom Arnold. He's telling us all about his new show and what he thinks about Roseanne these days. Interesting. Plus, Jonas and Sophie Turner announce their divorce. Are the rumors about what caused the breakup true?
Okay, my apologies
so
because
weird.
I really didn't anticipate telling the necrophilia story.
How did you, wait, why does Sam know this story? Where'd you get that
Because
from?
I was telling the story because I thought it was so funny that my mother and I could read the same story and get two different things out of it. So she was telling me, essentially, because my dad owns a funeral home, and there was a situation where someone's license is being taken by, I guess you could say a competitor, another funeral home, and it's because of these pictures, which she described to me as being pictures that were placed on like social media, like a before and after. So all this time I've been thinking like this is what you can do to make the body look the best for presentation. That's what I thought it was about.
You gotta look at
Right, I
those
never
pictures?
thought. So yes, but it turned out that there were hundreds of photos of nude people who were deceased. And so I was explaining that to my mother, who was like, well, why would somebody do something like that? And I was like, have you heard of necrophilia and a few other things?
I'm with your mom. I wouldn't even have thought about
I
that.
think that's the biggest issue is like normal people don't think about stuff like that. So people get away with terrible stuff because you don't even know conceptually that it's a thing until
Well, because your mind's not going there. But as I read through this article, it also turned out that he had been incarcerated for a multitude of different things, and one of them was molestation. So it wasn't a huge jump. This is a crazy story. So sorry.
Get it together, Erica. Get it together. Welcome back. Joe Jonas and Game of Thrones actress Sophie Turner apparently have called it quits, okay? That's what they stated, but I'm going to provide some additional information. So first and foremost, the former couple confirmed they are splitting up after 4 years of marriage. They share 2 young daughters. Some tabloids reported Sophie, who's 27, felt trapped in the marriage and likes to party. TMZ said Joe caught Sophie on the Ring camera doing something that made him realize the marriage was over. Either way, they released a joint statement saying although there are, quote, many speculative narratives as to why they are separating, this is a united decision. I just want to provide some weird additional context because over the weekend we had heard this rumor. Yesterday, I thought the rumor was put to rest when Joe Jonas himself posted a photo on his social media of his ring. That to me speaks, hey, everybody look it, I'm still married. That's the photo he posted, no caption. But then today they announced that they are divorced. Do you think that this really is over? And do 2 kids have a lot of people are speculating because they had that 2 under 2. Did you guys have 2 under 2?
What is it? What is that?
2 kids.
Within 2 years?
They say when you have 2 kids under 2 years, you're more likely to get a divorce because of all the stress.
Yeah, we were right there. 23 months our kids are apart.
Yep.
Yeah, so we're right there. Listen, I take, again, like the first story that we talked about, how much do you believe? I kind of just take this with a grain of salt, right? Because if you're not really attacking each other online, people just jump to conclusions and they want to speculate about everything. And if you've ever met someone who's went through something like in the media and you're like, how did it get there? Even myself, like some videos go viral, I'm like, how did it get to that place? It's not even close to where the truth lies. So sometimes I want to just step back, let them handle this right now. I know that's not fun to do, especially on a TV show, but sometimes you just can't jump to conclusions, and especially when there's kids involved.
Yeah. Yeah, that Ring camera, Erica.
I do want to see that.
This is the second time, because with Brittany, too, we heard about the Ring camera.
Yes. I wouldn't be surprised if there was something that happened. Clearly something happened in the marriage. That's why the marriage is no longer going to move forward. Maybe him posting a picture with his ring on is saying that he still may be committed to this relationship in the future.
I think so, too.
This woman was 20 years old when they first started dating. I always caution my friends, especially ones who are like within that 10-year younger age range, even when they're super mature, and they'll be like, oh, it's just a number. I'm more mature. I've had more life experience. And I'm like, you can have all the life experience that you want, the numbers of years that you've been on this earth mean something. So you have someone like a Sophie Turner who is very successful. I mean, she was on Game of Thrones. She comes out and she's like, I've had a whole career. I've made all this money. I'm ready to jump into this. Well, around 25, 26, you're like, oh, well, I didn't get to live some of these days of my throne. You know, I think it's completely reasonable.
Do you think they'll get back together?
No.
I
think whatever was on that Ring camera that gets burned into your brain. And
But do you think there really is a Ring camera?
Yes,
or did someone
because
make
you know
that
what?
up?
Because TMZ reported it, and I look at outlets like that because they will get sued into oblivion if they don't. They would not post that if they didn't, because if they posted something erroneous about any of us, we would go after them financially. Why?
Wouldn't one of them have to post that? Like, you can't just get that video. One of them would have to
Everybody's
release it.
got access. They got
That's a great
security.
point.
It's not just them checking their Ring camera.
Oh, coming up on DBL, you guys. Our interview with comedian and actor Tom Arnold. Find out why he's comparing his new show to The Office.
Thinking about cracking open a cold one? Wait just 1 second. Viral posts claim an alcohol czar with the Biden administration wants to limit how much beer Americans can drink. The topic even made it into a White House press briefing.
Does President Biden want to limit Americans to 2 beers a week?
Michael submitted a question on our website asking us to verify the alleged Biden beer ban. So let's verify. Has the government recommendation on alcohol consumption changed to 2 drinks per week? Our sources are the U.S. Dietary Guidelines for Americans, Canada's Guidelines on Alcohol and Health, and the Daily Mail interview with Dr. George Koob, director of the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism. First off, believe it or not, there are guidelines for how much alcohol the government thinks Americans should drink. The current guidelines on alcohol consumption were set by the United States Department of Agriculture in the 1990s. The USDA recommends 1 drink or less per day for women and 2 drinks or less for men. That's up to 7 drinks a week for women and 14 for men. Every 5 years, the agency has the opportunity to update its recommendations when it publishes the U.S. Dietary Guidelines for Americans. The next report is set to be published in 2025. So we can verify, no, the recommendation on alcohol consumption hasn't changed to 2 drinks per week. So, where did the Biden beer ban rumors start? In a recent interview with British tabloid The Daily Mail, Dr. George Koob, director of the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism, was asked whether he thought the guidance on alcohol consumption in the U.S. could change. He said if the U.S. were going to make a change, it'd be closer to Canadian guidelines, which suggest people consume 2 alcoholic drinks or less per week. But just to be clear, the guidelines aren't actual rules or restrictions on how much booze Canadians or Americans can drink. With your Verify, I'm Ariande Till.
Welcome back. Tom Arnold is one of the most unforgettable faces in comedy, and as a shady studio executive in the new show Underdeveloped, he's putting the low back in low budget. Earlier we spoke with Tom, and he was actually watching some of our show before we started. Take a look.
Please welcome back to the show, Tom Arnold!
Hey, first of all, I have to say, I gotta watch this show. First, there was all the celebrities at Beyonce, and then you had the most thoughtful discussion about adults marrying children and racism and anti-Semitism. It's crazy. You guys are, I'm blown away.
Oh, my God.
thank you.
so much,
Chris, you're going to clip that for our sizzle reel? Okay, he's on it. Yes, Tom
It is
Arnold.
a pleasure to have you on,
Wow.
Tom. Let's talk about your show, because this new show, Underdeveloped, is about a bunch of failed producers all working together, and it's full of nepotism and incompetence. So how close to reality is this show?
It's very close to reality, because I play a guy that runs a studio that is greedy and yeah, what I like about it is shot in the like The Office was shot, you know, that, and a bunch of fun people. But what I like is my guy, Bert. I think you have a Bert there, too.
Yeah, Bert.
For 100 years. My guy, Bert, he'll say to people, to the guys that work for him, listen, you're not going to get paid, and you're not going to get credit, but you're my guy, and that's the most important thing.
Right.
Other people credit for your work. Now, other people get the big paychecks, but you're my guy.
Now, I have to ask you, like, looking at this story and just kind of look at the show overall, did you pull or base a character off of anybody that you've met over the years?
Oh, man, I've met so many people like that. There's different degrees of people. There's some people, as we know from Hollywood, that are just maniacs. You know, they're kind of getting rid of them now. And eventually all the studios will be run by women, because that's the only way to stay out of trouble. But, yeah, it sold me a lot of crap that that I was like, wow, this is how it's done in Hollywood. And it's really, there's a lot of great people in it, too, that are legit. That are honest with you, but it's more fun to be one of the terrible people.
So, Tom, we got to talk about Roseanne. We got to get your thoughts on it, because she's kind of leaning in to this new era, and she's saying stuff that kind of, leaves us scratching our heads. She always has, right? That's what makes her Roseanne. But how do you react to all this? How are you seeing her?
Well, first of all, she hasn't always been this version of Roseanne. When I met her, she was the most. I'd never met a feminist. I came from the meatpacking plant in Iowa, and we met in 1983 in the Midwest doing stand-up comedy. I'm like, I'd never seen a woman like that. I'd never seen a person like that, She was a little bit older than me. She was a mom, but she was very liberal and called herself a feminist, and she's taken a big swing the other way. But I think, here's the thing. She was a great comedian. There's no doubt about it. And the show was great. I got to work on it 6 years. It was one of the best jobs I've had in my life. And I think that sometimes when people get older, maybe me too, you go a little bit different direction because you're looking for an audience. And now I think she's just trolling people, trying to get responses. But she's out there. She's over here and I'm over here. And I got 4 ex-wives, so she's not even my worst ex-wife. So
Okay, so you may have had multiple ex-wives, but you also have been through multiple industry strikes, and you're actually one of the few actors that can promote their new projects because it's independently produced. How do you see things shaking out with the studios, writers, and actors?
Well, I moved here in 1988 to write the Roseanne Show, and immediately we had a writer's strike, and I had to scramble, like you're talking about finding a way. I booked this video, this comedy video, which I was not naked, but other people were. I didn't even realize it. It's like softcore porn. By the way, I want to find that video. I thought we were getting somewhere a week ago, and then the studios did a thing, but it has a process. It will get worked out. It's an important strike because of all the artificial intelligence and all the streaming. So we get this worked out for all the young people. The guys that run the studios got $100 million bonuses last year, so they must not be doing too bad. So just pay us a fair amount. We'll meet in the middle, and we'll settle this.
Well said. I love the blue nails, too. I dig it. DBL Nation B.
I'm a single dad with a 10-year-old son and a 7-year-old daughter, and this is how I got her to go to school today. So,
good for you.
That's what's up, Dad.
That's cool.
That's really cool.
Love it. Well done. DBL Nation, be sure to check out Underdeveloped this Friday on Tubi. Thank you so much, Tom. Congratulations.
Congrats,
Always
man.
a treat having you here. We'll be right back. Thank you.
Thanks for the compliments.
I meant it.
With temperatures continuing in the 90s as we move into the fall, we know everybody is looking for ways to save a little money on your power bill. Most houses have something called an attic ventilation fan, but does running that system actually ventilate the attic and then in turn save you money on your power bill? Let's verify. Our sources are Christian Kaltrider, an energy efficiency researcher at Pacific Northwest National Laboratory, a U.S. Department of Energy lab, and Kenny Wardlaw, a heating and cooling specialist with more than 40 years of experience. First, let's understand how an attic fan is supposed to work.
Often they're installed because people want to remove heat in the summertime. Attics get really hot. You think if I can remove that heat, then I'll get less heat conducting down into my living space.
But in a warm, moist climate, experts say that's not what happens.
It does not cool the house. It actually increases the cooling load on the house.
Wardlaw says bringing humid air in can create other problems in your home, like mold.
The hotter the air is, the more moisture it can hold. And so if you bring hot air into the house and it cools down, then you get condensation, which, leads to mold.
U.S. Department of Energy research shows the energy used to run the fan is more than the energy saved.
Beyond the power consumption of an attic ventilation fan is the concern that it causes or create a negative pressure zone in the attic. And that negative pressure zone can pull air-conditioned, cooled air from the living space into the attic. And that air has to be replaced, so it's replaced by hot, moist, outside air.
Call Writer says if you want to save money, add insulation and air seal the attic floor. So we can verify, no, turning on the attic ventilation fan during hot weather will not save you money on your electric bill. With your Verify, I'm Andrea Mock.
The road out of the Burning Man Festival is finally open. Just days ago, rain poured down on the nearly 80,000 people attending the multi-day gathering in the Black Rock Desert, about 110 miles north of Reno, Nevada. Miles of festival grounds turned into mud, leaving festival goers trapped and worried about dwindling supplies. In the days after the storm, posts claiming to show footage of the poor conditions at the festival went viral. One claims to show footage of a Jeep stuck in the mud. The other claims to show a model walking through the mud during a fashion show at the festival. But is this footage really from Burning Man? Let's verify using these sources. First up, using Google Lens, we traced this video back to an Instagram post from August 15th, 12 days before Burning Man started in Nevada. So we can verify, no, this video does not show a Jeep stranded in the mud at Burning Man. Next up, using Google Lens, we verified that this is footage of a real fashion show, but it isn't recent and it didn't happen at Burning Man. The footage was originally posted to YouTube in October of 2022 and shows footage from designer Balenciaga's fashion show during Paris Fashion Week. With your Verify, I'm Ariande Till.
Welcome back. If you're thinking about selling your car soon, we've got tips to increase your vehicle's resale value. That's today's Auto Alert, sponsored by Ox Car Care. First up, avoid aftermarket modifications like audio systems and spoilers. These could actually speed up your car's depreciation. Next, try to keep mileage down. If you are taking a road trip, it might be worthwhile to get a rental car instead. Lastly, keep detailed records of maintenance and repairs to become a trusted seller. Ox Car Care is dedicated to providing you with an amazing auto protection plan experience that works with your budget. If you're looking for better car care, give them a call at 800-687-1821. Want to share some more about your life story? We've got 10 seconds.
No. No, you had nothing planned?
That was my plan.
Yeah.
What are you talking
Your life
about?
story.
Oh my gosh, full circle from earlier.
I got it, but what was my punchline supposed to be? You left me hanging.